The fluorescent hum never stops. San Diego VA Hospital Emergency Department. Dawn light filters through unwashed windows, cutting across gurneys and monitor carts. The night shift is winding down, coffee cups abandoned on counters, discharge papers stacked in crooked piles. Dr. Maya Voss wipes down a gurney with methodical precision. Left to right, top to bottom, corners twice. Her hands move like they're following orders no one else can hear. Around her, the day shift flows in, loud voices, complaints about traffic on the 5, someone's birthday mentioned in passing. She doesn't look up. Her scrubs are clean. Her hair is pulled back tight. No jewelry, no makeup, nothing that draws attention. She's been here since 1900 hours, 11 hours. But she clocked out at 0600, like always. The extra 47 minutes don't exist on paper. They never do. Dr. Hendricks arrives with his usual energy, young, confident. Yale residency and a Patagonia vest over his scrubs. He tosses his bag onto the nurse's station, without checking where it lands. "Jesus, Voss, you're still here?" She wrings out the rag into the metal basin, doesn't answer. "Night shift ended 20 minutes ago," he says, not unkindly. "You don't get overtime for playing janitor." Maya folds the rag into quarters, sets it on the cart, perfectly aligned with the edge. Hendricks exchanges a look with Nurse Carla, the weird one, and moves on. She's used to it. 10 years of these looks. 10 years of being the one who stays late, leaves early, never volunteers for traumas, never offers opinions in meetings. The one who does sutures and discharge papers and IV placements without complaint. The reliable one. The forgettable one. She straightens. Her back aches. Her hands smell like disinfectant. She glances at the clock. 07:02. Time to go. She heads toward the locker room. Behind her, someone laughs at the vending machines. A joke she didn't hear. She used to be good at those. Used to have a call sign that meant something. Used to walk into a room and have people listen. Not anymore. The locker room is empty. 3rd row, bottom shelf. No one uses the bottom row if they can help it. Too much bending. But she likes it. Low, corner, wall behind her. Old habits. Inside the locker, a single photo is taped to the door. 4 women in tan fatigues, arms slung over each other's shoulders, faces sunburned and grinning. Dust in the background, a med tent, somewhere far away. She doesn't look at it. She never does. She grabs her jacket, closes the locker, and walks out. The parking lot is half empty. Her car, a 10-year-old Honda Civic, sits in the back row. She always parks in the back. Back, easier to see who's coming. The bumper sticker is faded but readable. U.S. Army Nurse Corps, proudly served. Someone keyed a line through proudly last month. She hasn't removed it. She unlocks the door, slides into the driver's seat. The interior smells like old coffee and lavender air freshener. She sits for a moment, hands on the wheel, staring at nothing. Then she starts the engine and drives home. The route is automatic. Same streets, same lights. She doesn't listen to music, doesn't listen to the news, just the hum of the tires and the occasional rush of passing traffic. Her apartment is small, 1 bedroom, minimal furniture. Everything has a place, nothing is out of order. She locks the door behind her, double-checks it, then checks again. She drops her keys in the bowl by the door, hangs her jacket on the hook, puts her shoes on the mat, aligned and parallel. The silence is thick. She stands in the middle of the living room for a moment, unsure what to do with herself now that the shift is over. This is always the hardest part. The empty hours, the space where thoughts creep in. She moves to the kitchen, fills a glass with water, drinks it standing at the sink, looking out the window at the neighboring building. Somewhere in the distance, a siren wails. She closes her eyes. For just a second, the sound shifts, becomes something else. Dust and heat and the smell of burning fuel. A voice shouting coordinates. Her hands slick with blood. She opens her eyes. The siren fades. She sets the glass down, rinses it, places it in the dish rack. Then she walks to the bedroom, lies down fully clothed on top of the covers, and stares at the ceiling until the sun climbs higher and the world outside her window starts to move again. For 10 years, Dr. Maya Voss has worked exclusively day shifts at the San Diego VA. No nights, no exceptions, no explanations. Her colleagues assume she has kids, or a second job, or just doesn't want to work hard. They don't ask. And she doesn't tell them that she's not afraid of the dark. She's afraid of what she becomes in it. 3 days later, mid-afternoon. The ED break room smells like burnt coffee and someone's leftover Chinese food. Maya sits alone at the corner table, eating a sandwich she doesn't taste. Around her, the day shift swirls, jokes, gossip. Someone's birthday cupcakes on the counter. Dr. Patel drops into the chair across from her without asking. Voss, you ever think about taking lead on traumas? She looks up. Patel's a good doc, competent, doesn't condescend. But his question hangs like bait. I'm fine where I am. You're overqualified for sutures and discharge papers. I like sutures. He studies her for a moment, then shrugs. Suit yourself. He leaves a cupcake on the table as he goes. She doesn't touch it. She finishes her sandwich in silence, wraps the plastic carefully, throws it away. Then she walks back to the main floor. 14:30 hours, ambulance bay. The automatic doors hiss open. A stretcher rolls in fast. 2 paramedics, a teenager pale as paper, blood soaking through a pressure bandage on his thigh. 15-year-old male fell onto rebar at a construction site, impaled through the femoral triangle, lost consciousness en route, BP's 80/50 and dropping. Hendricks is already moving, confident, loud. Get me 2 large bore IVs, type and cross for 4 units, someone page surgery. The kid's eyes roll back, he's crashing. Start compressions, get the crash cart. Maya's standing 10 feet away, watching. Her hands loose at her sides. The kid's hand falls off the gurney, limp. The angle of it, the light catching the blood, something shifts. For half a second, she's not in San Diego. She's in a different place. Dust in the air. A girl's hand, smaller, reaching up from the dirt. A voice, young, desperate, calling her name. Doc, please. Maya blinks. The room snaps back. Hendricks is still shouting orders. A nurse is fumbling with the crash cart. The kid's lips are going blue. She moves. Not fast, not dramatic, but she's there. Stop compressions, she says. Hendricks turns, confused. What? He's not in arrest. He's in hypovolemic shock. You're compressing an empty heart. His pulse is thready because he's bled out half his volume. You need pressure, fluids, and a tourniquet above the bleed. Now. Hendricks freezes. Maya doesn't wait. She grabs a tourniquet from the crash cart, steps to the gurney, and slides her hand under the kid's thigh. Her fingers find the femoral artery in one motion. No fumbling, no hesitation. Someone hold his leg. I need a cat tourniquet, not this cloth band. A nurse stares at her. Now. The nurse pulls one from a side drawer. Maya takes it, wraps it high and tight, 2 inches below the inguinal ligament, twists the windlass, clicks it into place. The bleeding stops. 2 liters of lactated ringers, wide open. Push O negative until we get a type. Get me a Doppler and check distal pulse. If he's got compartment syndrome developing, we're racing the clock. She works without looking up. Her voice is flat, steady. The kind of steady you don't learn in a residency program. The kid's blood pressure climbs. 85/55, then 90/60, then 100/65. His color improves. His breathing steadies. Hendricks stares at her. Like she just performed a magic trick. How did you? Femoral bleeds don't present like cardiac arrest. You see this in field trauma, high-energy penetrating mechanisms. You mean, like combat? She looks at him for a long moment, says nothing. Then she turns and walks back to the suture bay. Her hands are shaking now, just a tremor. She curls them into fists, presses them against her thighs until the shaking stops. Don't think about it. Don't go back there. She moves to the sink, washes her hands, scrubs between the fingers, under the nails. Once, twice. In the reflection of the paper towel dispenser, she sees the kid being wheeled toward the elevator, alive. She closes her eyes, breathes, opens them again. Behind her, Nurse Carla leans toward another nurse near the med cart, whispering, "Did you see that? She didn't even check a pulse first, just knew." Where the hell did she learn that? Maya dries her hands, throws the towel away, walks back to her station like nothing happened. But Carla's still watching her, thoughtful now, curious. Maya can feel it, the crack in the wall she's built, small, barely visible, but it's there. She finishes her shift in silence, clocks out at 1800 hours, drives home the same route, locks her door, checks it twice. She stands in her kitchen, staring at nothing. Somewhere in the back of her mind, the memory is still there. Waiting. The dust. The heat. The girl's voice. "Doc, please." She shakes her head, pours a glass of water, drinks it slowly. Then she goes to bed and lies awake until the sun rises again. 5 days later. 18-20 hours. Shift change. Maya's packing her bag. The day shift is clearing out. Voices fading. Footsteps echoing toward the exit. The night team filters in with tired eyes and reheated dinners, settling into the quieter rhythm of after hours. She's halfway to the door when the radio crackles. "All units, mass casualty incident, multi-vehicle pileup on I-8 westbound near Hotel Circle. Estimate 12 to 15 victims inbound. ETA 6 minutes. The room shifts. Tension snaps through the air like electricity. Hendricks curses under his breath. "We've got 3 residents and 1 attending. We're not staffed for this." The charge nurse looks around, scanning faces. "Anyone who can stay." Maya stops. Her hand tightens on her bag strap. "Just walk. You're off the clock. You don't owe them anything." But her feet don't move. She sees Hendricks already pulling on gloves. Carla prepping gurneys. The residents wide-eyed and nervous. She drops the bag. "I'll stay." Hendricks looks at her like she just spoke another language. "You sure?" She's already tying her hair back. "Yeah." The first ambulance arrives 4 minutes later. The bay doors burst open. 2 stretchers roll in simultaneously, a woman screaming, clutching her chest, and a man silent and gray, eyes half open but seeing nothing. Female, mid-30s, blunt chest trauma, possible flail chest. SATSA 89. Male, late 50s, GCS 6, unresponsive, pupils sluggish, significant head trauma. Then another rig pulls in, and another, BED floods, a child crying for her mother. Blood smeared across white linoleum. Hendricks shouting orders, a monitor alarm shrill and endless, a nurse running with an IV bag held high. Someone's phone ringing, unanswered, over and over. Maya moves through it like water. Calm, precise. She triages without thinking. Red tags, yellow tags, a green tag on a teenager with a broken wrist who's crying but stable. "You're fine," she tells him. "Sit here. Someone will splint it soon." She moves to the next gurney. An elderly woman, shallow breathing, cyanotic lips. "Tension pneumo," Maya says to a passing resident. "Needle decompression, second intercostal space. Don't wait for x-ray." The resident hesitates. "Do it now or she dies. Your choice." He does it. The woman's oxygen climbs. Color returns. Maya's already moving to the next bay. Bay 3. A young man, early 20s, impaled through the abdomen by a steering column fragment. The metal is still embedded, protruding 6 inches from his left flank. The trauma surgeon hasn't arrived yet. Hendricks is there, sweating, hands hovering uselessly. "We need to get him to OR. He won't make it," Maya says. She's standing in the doorway now. Her voice is calm, flat. Hendricks turns. "We have to try. Look at his neck." Hendricks looks. The trachea is deviated, shifted to the right. "Tension pneumothorax on the left," Maya continues. "If you move him, he'll code before you hit the elevator." "Then what do we do?" "Needle decompression. Here, now. I've never done one outside of simulation." "Then watch." She steps forward. A nurse hands her a 14-gauge catheter without being asked. Maya palpates the second rib, finds the intercostal space just below it, mid-clavicular line. She inserts the needle at a 30-degree angle, smooth and controlled, just above the third rib to avoid the neurovascular bundle. There's a hiss. Air rushes out under pressure. The young man's oxygen saturation jumps. 82, 87, 91. His breathing eases. The cyanosis fades. Hendricks exhales like he's been holding his breath for a year. "Holy shit." Maya withdraws the needle, tapes the catheter in place. "Now you can move him." She turns. RNS walks to the next bay without waiting for thanks. Another patient, another problem, another solution delivered with the same unshakable calm. The chaos continues for 90 minutes. By 1950 hours, the surge has slowed. Patients stabilized. Surgeries underway. The ED floor is still stained red in places, but the screaming has stopped. Hendricks catches her near the medication cart. His scrubs are soaked with sweat. "Voss, that was standard field procedure." "Not here, it isn't." She doesn't answer, just logs a medication dose into the system. "Where did you learn that?" Her jaw tightens. She closes the tablet screen. I need to finish my notes. She walks away. Behind her, Carla watches, quiet, thoughtful. She pulls out her phone, types something, pauses, then sends it. Maya finishes her charting at 2100 hours. She clocks out, grabs her bag, walks toward the exit. Her hands are steady, her breathing is controlled, but inside, something has shifted. A door she's kept locked for 10 years has cracked open. And she knows it's only a matter of time before someone pushes it the rest of the way. She drives home in silence, parks in her usual spot, climbs the stairs to her apartment, locks the door, checks it twice. Then she sits on the edge of her bed, still in her scrubs, and stares at the wall until her alarm goes off the next morning. 2 hours later, 2100 hours, the ED hallway. Maya's at a nurse's station, finishing charts. The chaos has ebbed into something manageable. A few patients remain. The night shift has fully taken over, moving through the dimmed halls with practiced efficiency. She's almost done, almost free. Then, "Dot Voss?" A voice behind her, male, rough, uncertain. She turns. A man in his 40s stands there, scruffy jacket, VA hospital badge clipped to his belt. Maintenance, maybe, or environmental services. His face is weathered, lined with years of hard work. He's staring at her, really staring. "Sorry, do I know you?" Maya's face doesn't change. "I don't think so." "No, He steps closer, squinting. "You look really familiar." She turns back to the computer. "I have one of those faces." "Wait." He moves closer still. She stiffens. Her hand hovers over the keyboard. "Were you ever stationed at Bagram? Or, no, wait, Kandahar?" Her fingers stop moving. "You've got the wrong person." "No, His eyes widen. Recognition dawns like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Holy shit, you're Reaper." The room shifts. A nurse glances over. Hendricks, passing by with a tablet, slows his steps. Maya stands slowly, deliberately. "I don't know what you're talking about." You're Captain Voss, 274 Forward Surgical. You did that emergency crike on Lieutenant Sorensen in the back of a Humvee while we were under fire, 2012, right outside Kabul. You're mistaken. I'm not." His voice is louder now, excited, insistent. "I was there. I was the driver. You told me to keep my eyes on the road and my foot on the gas, and you saved his life with a ballpoint pen and a pocket knife." "Stop." Her voice cuts through the air like a blade, cold, final, absolute. The man freezes. Silence falls across the nurse's station. Everyone within earshot is looking now. Hendricks, Carla, 2 residents, a janitor mopping near the vending machines. The man's face shifts, confusion melting into realization. "You don't want people to know." Maya says nothing. Her jaw is locked. Her hands are flat on the counter, pressed down hard. He takes a step back, nods slowly. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to say thank you for what you did, for all of it." He leaves. His footsteps echo down the hallway. Maya stands there, frozen. Her breathing is controlled, but her pulse hammers in her ears. Around her, the world has gone very quiet. Hendricks approaches slowly, carefully, like she's a live wire. "Voss, was that true?" She closes the chart, logs out of the system. "I need to go." "Maya." She walks past him, fast, purposeful, out the door, into the night. The parking lot is cool and dark. Overhead lights hum. Her footsteps echo on the asphalt. She reaches her car, fumbles with the keys, drops them. They clatter onto the pavement. She bends down, picks them up. Her hands are shaking. Reaper. She hasn't heard that name in 10 years. She sits in the driver's seat. Engine off, hands gripping the wheel. Her mind pulls her back. She doesn't want to go, but she can't stop it. Kabul, night, 2011. Dust hangs thick in the air. Gunfire crackles in the distance, sporadic but close. A Humvee races through the dark, headlights off, engine roaring. She's in the back, kneeling over a soldier with a crushed trachea. His face is gray, his lips are blue. No airway kit, no light, just her hands and whatever she can improvise. "Stay with me, Sorensen, stay with me." She makes the incision with a pocket knife, sterilized over a lighter flame. Inserts the hollow barrel of a pen she took apart 30 seconds earlier. Secures it with tape from a first aid pouch. He breathes. The sound is wet and ragged, but it's there. The driver, younger then, cleaner, less worn, looks back with eyes wide as moons. "You just saved his life with a pen." She doesn't smile. Doesn't celebrate. 8. Drive faster. The memory snaps shut. Maya's back in the parking lot, alone. The engine is still off. She closes her eyes, breathes in through her nose, out through her mouth. Then she starts the car and drives home. Inside her apartment, she locks the door, checks it twice, sets her keys in the bowl, hangs her jacket on the hook. She walks to the bedroom, sits on the edge of the bed. On the nightstand, there's a small wooden box. She hasn't opened it in years. She reaches for it, hesitates, then pulls her hand back. Not tonight. She lies down fully clothed, stares at the ceiling. Sleep doesn't come. The next morning, she arrives at the hospital early, clocks in, moves through her routines with the same quiet efficiency. But people are watching her now. She feels it. The glances, the whispers near the break room. Carla's thoughtful stare from across the hall. Hendricks approaches her during a lull. Hey, about last night. Don't. I just want to understand. There's nothing to understand. That man was confused. End of story. Hendricks studies her for a long moment, then nods. But she knows he doesn't believe her. And she knows it's only a matter of time before the truth comes out. Because once a door cracks open, it never fully closes again. The next morning, 8:20, hospital administrator's office. Maya sits across from Dr. Patricia Eng, chief of emergency medicine. Hendricks is there too, arms crossed, leaning against the bookshelf. Dr. Eng doesn't waste time. I'll get to the point. After what happened last night, the man who recognized you, I made some calls this morning. To the VA liaison office. Maya's face remains neutral. Okay. Were you Captain Maya Voss, 274 Forward Surgical Team? Silence. I was an Army nurse, 11 years ago. Nurse or surgeon. I had my MSN. I was commissioned as a captain in the Army Nurse Corps. I worked in forward surgical teams. Doing what? Triage, stabilization, whatever was needed. Hendricks leans forward. You did a needle decompression and apply the field tourniquet like you'd done them 1,000 times. I was trained. You were more than trained, Dr. Eng says quietly. She opens a folder on her desk. Bronze Star with Valor, Combat Medical Badge, 3 deployments, over 200 trauma surgeries in active combat zones. Maya doesn't respond. Why didn't you tell us? Because it's not relevant. The hell it isn't. It isn't. Maya's voice stays level, but there's steel beneath it. I'm not that person anymore. I don't do night shifts. I don't do traumas. I work days, I go home, and I stay out of the way. You saved 4 lives 2 nights ago. Go. And I don't want to do it again. Dr. Eng studies her for a long moment. Why did you stay then? Maya looks down at her hands. I don't know. The room falls quiet. Then Dr. Eng closes the folder. We're not going to force you into anything. But I want you to know, you're wasted on sutures and discharge papers. Maya stands. Are we done? For now. She leaves without another word. That evening, 1850, Maya's finishing her shift early. The sun is still up. Safe. She's logging her final notes when the main entrance doors burst open. Not the ambulance bay, the main entrance. A man stumbles in, carrying a little girl. She's limp in his arms, blue-lipped, not breathing. Help, please, she was in the pool. I turned around for 1 second. Chaos erupts. Nurses rush forward. Hendricks is in the break room. The pediatric attending is off-site. The girl is dying. Maya's eyes lock on her. 4 years old, wet hair plastered to her small face. Skin mottled purple and white. Her hand moves toward the exit door. Just leave. You're off shift. Someone else will handle it. She's 3 steps from freedom when someone starts CPR. I don't have a pediatric airway kit ready. Her pulse is gone. Maya stops, her hand on the door handle. Her reflection stares back at her in the glass. Behind her, the girl, surrounded by people who are good, but not good enough. Not for this. She turns around. The hesitation vanishes. The tension drops from her shoulders. Her face changes. She's not Dr. Voss anymore. She's Captain Voss, Reaper. She walks back into the ED. Move. Her voice cuts through the panic like a scalpel. Everyone freezes. She steps to the gurney. How long has she been down? We don't know. Maybe 3 minutes. Start the timer. Now. A nurse hits the wall clock. Maya tilts the girl's head back, opens the airway, sweeps 2 fingers through the mouth. Clear. Bag her, 20 breaths per minute. Watch for chest rise. She places her hands on the sternum. Small, fragile. Begins compressions. Fast, hard, precise. Someone get me an IO kit. If we can't get a line, we go intraosseous. An IO? She's only 4. Then we have 30 seconds before her brain starts dying. Move. The team moves. No more questions. No hesitation. Maya's voice is calm. Her hands are flawless. Epi, pediatric dose, 0.15 milligrams. Draw it now. A resident fumbles with the vial. Maya doesn't look up. Breathe. You've done this before. Do it again. He nods, draws the dose with steady hands. Good. IO in the proximal tibia. I'll guide you. She doesn't stop compressions. 100 per minute, like a metronome. The resident places. The IO drill. Maya nods. Go. He does. The needle penetrates. Flesh is clean. Push the epi. He does. 15 seconds pass. 20. 30. Then, the girl's chest shudders. A cough. Water spills from her mouth. Roll her, recovery position. They do. The girl gasps, chokes, breathes. Her eyes flutter open, confused, afraid, alive. Maya steps back. Her hands are steady. Her face is calm. She looks at the clock. 4 minutes, 18 seconds. The father collapses into a chair, sobbing. The girl cries softly. It's the most beautiful sound Maya's heard in years. Then, a new sound. Outside, low, rhythmic. The whump, whump, whump of rotor blades. Everyone looks up. Maya's head snaps toward the sound. Her breath catches. Her hands freeze mid-movement. That sound. She knows that sound. Dust. Rotor wash. A voice screaming for a medic. She closes her eyes. Opens them. The room is still there. The sound is real. A UH-60 Blackhawk settles onto the hospital helipad. The side door opens. A man steps out. Dress uniform. 2 stars on his shoulders. Major General Klein. He walks toward the ED entrance like he owns the ground beneath him. Inside, the doors slide open. He enters. The room goes quiet. His eyes scan the space. Find Maya. He stops. Captain Voss. Maya goes rigid. The word comes out automatically. Muscle memory. Sir. Klein walks toward her. Stops 3 feet away. 10 years, he says quietly. And you're still the best combat medic I've ever seen. Maya says nothing. I need you. I'm retired. I know, but there's a situation. Overseas. You're the only one I trust to handle it. I don't do that anymore. I know. He looks at the little girl, breathing, alive. But you just did. Hospital conference room. 20-30 hours. Maya sits across from General Klein. The door is closed. The blinds are drawn. Hendricks tried to follow them in. Klein shut the door in his face without a word. I'm not asking you to re-enlist, Klein says. Good, because I won't. I'm asking you to consult. 3 weeks. Kabul. Training mission. You teach trauma protocols to the local medical staff. That's it. Send someone else. There is no one else. Not with your record. Maya's jaw tightens. My record is why I left. I know. Silence hangs between them. Heavy. Loaded. Klein leans back in his chair. Studies her with the measured gaze of someone who's seen too much and forgotten nothing. You got out because of FOB Sharana. Maya's eyes flash. Don't. Captain Voss. I said don't. Her voice is cold, final. Klein nods, stops. Lingers in the air between them like smoke. FOB Sharana. Paktika Province. 2013. The memory claws at the edges of her mind. She spent 10 years keeping it buried. 10 years building walls around it. But walls crack. You made an impossible call, Klein says quietly. And you've been punishing yourself for it ever since. I played God. You did triage, under fire, with no backup, and 100 casualties coming through a tent that could barely hold 20. I let him die. You saved 11 others that night. That's not how it works. Her voice breaks, just slightly. You don't get to weigh lives like that. You don't get to decide who's worth saving. In combat, you do. Every single day. Maya looks away. Her hands are clenched in her lap. Klein leans forward. Do you remember his name? She closes her eyes. Corporal James Dietrich, 22 years old. Chest wound. Sucking pneumothorax. Fractured ribs. internal bleeding. And the other one? Private First Class Anthony Ruiz, 19, face trauma, airway compromise, still breathing. You chose Ruiz. I chose wrong. Dietrich was already gone. You knew it. His vitals were crashing. You had seconds to decide. I should have tried. If you had, they'd both be dead. Klein's voice is firm now. You made the right call, the hardest call, and Ruiz is alive today because of it. Maya's eyes are wet, but she doesn't cry. She hasn't cried since the day she left the service. Doesn't make it easier. No, it doesn't. The room falls quiet again. Outside, the muted sounds of the hospital continue. Footsteps in the hallway, a distant monitor alarm. Life moving forward while they sit in the wreckage of the past. Why are you really here? Maya asks. Because there are medics in Kabul right now facing the same impossible choices you did, and they don't have your experience, your skill, your ability to stay calm when everything's falling apart. I'm not calm, I'm broken. You're both. Klein's voice softens, and that's exactly why they need you. Not because you're a hero, because you're human, because you know what it costs. Maya looks at him, really looks at him. She sees the lines around his eyes, the gray in his hair, the weight he carries too. I don't work nights, she says quietly. I know. You know why? Because that's when it all happened. Sharana, the worst cases, the calls you couldn't unmake. She nods. And you spent 10 years trying to forget. Another nod. Klein leans forward, elbows on his knees. Maya, you don't have to go. I'm not ordering you. I can't. You're a civilian, but I'm asking. Because there are people over there who need what you know. Not because you're a soldier, because you're a healer. I stopped being a healer the day I played God. No. His voice is firm, absolute. You stopped being a soldier, but you never stopped being a healer. That's why you stayed 2 nights ago. That's why you're still here. Maya stares at her hands. They're steady now. They're always steady when they need to be. If I say yes, she says slowly, I do it my way. No rank, no protocols I don't agree with. I teach what I know, and I leave. Agreed. And I don't work nights. Klein pauses, then nods. Understood. She looks up, meets his eyes. 3 weeks. That's it. 3 weeks. And when I come back, this conversation never happened. I go back to being nobody. If that's what you want. She stands. It is. Klein stands too, extends his hand. She shakes it, firm, brief. Thank you, Captain. It's just Maya now. He smiles slightly. Okay, thank you, Maya. She leaves the room, walks down the hallway, past Hendricks, who's waiting near the nurse's station, with questions she won't answer, past Carla, who watches her with something like understanding, past the little girl's room, where a father sits beside his daughter's bed, holding her hand while she sleeps. Maya pauses at the doorway, just for a moment. The girl is breathing, alive, whole. Sometimes that has to be enough. She walks out into the parking lot. The night air is cool, clear. The Black Hawk is gone. She gets in her car, sits for a moment, then she drives home. Inside her apartment, she goes to the bedroom. Opens the nightstand drawer, pulls out the small wooden box she hasn't touched in years. Inside, dog tags, a folded flag, a photo of her team, and a small bronze star pinned to faded ribbon. She looks at it for a long time, then she closes the box, sets it back in the drawer. She's not ready to let it go, but maybe, just maybe, she's ready to stop running from it. Kabul, Afghanistan, night. 3 weeks earlier. A field hospital tent glows under portable lights. Dust swirls in the air outside. Inside, Maya stands before a group of Afghan medical staff. Doctors, nurses, medics. Their faces are weary, but attentive. She's in desert fatigues, no rank insignia, just her name tape. Voss. In mass casualty situations, you don't have time to think, she says. Her voice is steady, clear. You have to know. Airway, breathing, circulation. In that order. Always. She demonstrates a tourniquet technique on a training mannequin. Her hands move with practiced efficiency. A young Afghan doctor watches intently, takes notes. Questions? Maya asks. He raises his hand. What if you must choose between two patients? Maya pauses. The question hangs in the air. You save the one you can save, she says quietly. Not the one you want to save. There's a difference. The room is silent. She continues teaching. San Diego VA Hospital. Present day. Morning. 3 weeks later. The ED staff meeting room is packed. Dr. Eng stands at the front. Hendricks, Carla, and a dozen others sit in folding chairs. Maya's not there. As some of you may have heard, Dr. Eng begins. Dr. Voss has taken a temporary leave of absence. She'll be gone for 3 weeks. Murmurs ripple through the room. Where'd she go? Someone asks. Consulting work overseas. That's all I'm authorized to say. Hendricks frowns. Consulting for who? Dr. Eng doesn't answer, just moves on to the next agenda item. Later that day, break room. Carla scrolls through her phone during lunch. She stops. Her eyes widen. Oh my God. Hendricks looks over from the coffee maker. What? She turns the phone toward him. It's a military publication. Army Times. The headline reads, Decorated combat medic returns to train medical staff in Kabul. Below it, an archive photo. Maya, younger, in fatigues, standing with a surgical team. Dust and med tents in the background. Her face is serious. Her eyes are sharp. She looks like someone you'd follow into hell. Hendricks reads the article aloud. Captain Maya Voss, call sign Reaper. Bronze Star with Valor. 3 deployments. Over 200 trauma surgeries in active combat zones. He looks up. She did all that and never said a word? Carla shakes her head slowly. She didn't want us to know. Why? Because people like us wouldn't understand what it cost. 2 weeks later, the ED, day shift. It's quieter without Maya. The rhythm feels off somehow, less steady. Hendricks is running a code. A middle-aged man in V-fib. It's going badly. Another round of epi. Still no pulse. Charging to 200. Hendricks stops, steps back, tries to think like she would. What am I missing? He checks the airway. Tube placement is good. Checks the rhythm. Still V-fib. Then he notices it. Subtle tracheal deviation. Neck veins distended. Tension pneumothorax. Get me a 14-gauge catheter, he says. The nurse stares. You sure? Yes, now. He does the decompression himself. Second intercostal space. Mid-clavicular line. Just like Maya showed him. There's a hiss of released air. The patient's oxygen saturation climbs. The rhythm converts. Pulse returns. Hendricks exhales. His hands are shaking slightly. Carla's watching from the doorway. You learned that from her, didn't you? He nods. Yeah. She saved more than just patients, didn't she? Yeah, she did. Staff lounge. End of shift. Hendricks finds Dr. Eng reviewing charts. I want to apologize, he says. Yes, she looks up. For not seeing it. What she was, what she carried. I treated her like she was invisible. Dr. Eng nods slowly. We all did. She saved my ass more times than I realized, didn't she? Probably. And she never asked for credit. Hendricks looks down at his hands. When she gets back, I want to recommend her for lead trauma attending, if she'll take it. Dr. Eng smiles faintly. I'll consider it. But I think she'll need time. She's been carrying a lot for a long time. We all missed it. Yes, we did. 3 weeks later, morning, 0800 hours. Maya walks into the ED. No announcement, no fanfare. Just another day. But she's different somehow. The weight on her shoulders seems lighter. Carla sees her first. Crosses the room quickly. Voss. She pulls Maya into a hug. Maya stiffens, then relaxes. Pats her back awkwardly. I'm fine, Carla. You're a damn hero, is what you are. I'm a nurse. You're both. Carla pulls back, looks her in the eye. And we should have seen it sooner. Hendricks approaches, slower, more careful. Hey. Pause. I read the article. About Kabul, about everything. Maya's face doesn't change. Yeah. I'm sorry. For not knowing. For not seeing you. Really seeing you. She looks at him for a moment. You see me now? Yeah, I do. She nods once. Then we're good. Later, nurse's station. Dr. Eng approaches while Maya's reviewing patient files. Welcome back, Dr. Voss. Thanks. I have a question for you. Okay. Would you consider taking the lead on our trauma protocol redesign? We need someone with real field experience. Someone who's seen the worst and knows how to prepare for it. Maya hesitates, old instincts pulling her back toward invisibility. It's a day position, Dr. Eng adds. Mostly teaching. Some administrative work. You'd set your own schedule. No nights? No nights. Maya looks around the ED. The organized chaos, the people she's worked beside for 10 years without ever really letting them in. She thinks about the young Afghan doctor, the questions he asked, the way he listened. Maybe teaching is another way to heal. Okay, she says. Dr. Eng smiles. Good. We'll start next week. Maya nods, returns to her charts. Around her, the ED continues. Lives being saved, crises averted, the steady rhythm of healing. And for the first time in 10 years, she feels like she might actually belong here. 6 months later, San Diego VA Hospital. Golden hour light streams through the windows. The ED is calm, a few patients waiting, routine cases. The kind of day that used to feel empty, but now feels like breathing room. Maya sits at a desk, scowl with 2 new residents, reviewing training protocols. She's patient, clear, no condescension in her voice. If you see tracheal deviation, you don't wait for imaging confirmation, you act. Understand? They both nod. Good. Now show me how you'd place the needle. One of them demonstrates on a training mannequin. His angle is slightly off. Maya reaches over, adjusts his hand position. There. Feel that? You're going over the rib, not under. You hit the neurovascular bundle. You've got a whole new problem. He tries again, gets it right. Better. Keep practicing. He grins. She almost smiles back. Break room. Maya pours coffee. Carla sits down beside her uninvited. But it doesn't feel like an intrusion anymore. You seem different, Carla says. Different how? Lighter. Like you're not carrying the whole world anymore. Maya sips her coffee, considers this. Maybe I'm just sharing the weight now. That's growth, Voss. Don't get sentimental on me. Carla laughs. Too late. They sit in comfortable silence for a moment. You ever think about going back? Carla asks. To the field, I mean. No. Not even a little? Maya looks out the window at the parking lot beyond. The palm trees swaying in the breeze. The ordinary world continuing its ordinary rhythm. I did what I needed to do. Now I'm where I need to be. Carla smiles. Good answer. That evening, 1900 hours. Maya's packing up her bag. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The night shift is arriving. She usually leaves before they settle in. Old habits. But tonight she pauses, watches them come through the doors, tired but ready. One of the night nurses, young, maybe 25, first week on nights, drops a patient chart. Papers scatter across the floor. Maya sets down her bag, walks over, bends down and helps gather the pages. First night shift? She asks. The nurse nods, embarrassed. Yeah, I'm terrified. Honestly, Maya hands her the papers. You'll be fine. Just stay calm. Trust your training. What if I mess up? You will. Everyone does. That's how you learn. The nurse looks at her with something like hope. Were you ever scared when you started? Maya pauses, thinks about dust and darkness and impossible choices. Every single day. How did you get through it? One patient at a time, one decision at a time. You don't have to save the world. Just the person in front of you. The nurse nods slowly. Thanks, Dr. Voss. Maya watches her walk away, shoulders a little straighter now. She picks up her bag, heads for the exit. But before she leaves, she stops, turns, looks back at the ED. The place she ran till 10 years ago. The place she hid in. The place that somehow became home. She's not running anymore. She walks out into the evening air. Cool, clear, peaceful. At home, she unlocks the door. Doesn't check it twice anymore. Just once is enough now. She sets her keys in the bowl, hangs her jacket, moves to the bedroom, opens the drawer, pulls out the small wooden box. Inside, the photo. Her team in Kabul. 4 women who understood what it meant to carry impossible weight. She doesn't look away this time. She takes the photo out, carries it to the living room, sets it on the shelf where she can see it. Visible, honored, part of her story, not hidden from it. She stands at the window, looking out at the city lights beginning to glow in the dusk. For 10 years, Maya Voss worked only day shifts, not because she was afraid of the dark, but because she knew what she became in it. She thought she'd left the war behind, but the war was never the enemy. The enemy was the belief that saving lives meant being perfect, that healing meant never breaking, that strength meant never showing the cracks. She learned that healing isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about showing up, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. For 10 years, she refused night shifts, and General Klein knew why. Because she only worked nights in Kabul, in Fob Sharana, in places where darkness meant something different, where every decision carried the weight of life and death. She wasn't ready to face that version of herself again, until she was. Now, standing in her quiet apartment, she realizes something. The darkness doesn't own her anymore. The past doesn't define her. She survived war not by forgetting, but by remembering who she saved, by honoring the weight she carried, by accepting that being broken and being whole aren't opposites. They're the same thing, just seen from different angles. She turns away from the window. The night outside is dark, but her home is warm. Tomorrow, she'll teach 2 more residents. She'll review protocols. She'll drink bad coffee and listen to Carla's stories. And maybe, just maybe, she'll smile a little more easily. Because the real heroes aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who get back up, every single day. The next morning, she arrives at the hospital just as the sun breaks over the horizon. Golden light floods the ED entrance. The night team is finishing up, exhausted but satisfied. They nod to her as they leave. She nods back. Then she steps inside, into the light, into the work, into the life she's chosen. Not because it's easy, because it's hers. And that's enough. The doors close softly behind her. The day begins.